Okay, so we're going to start with standing roll downs. So nice and tall, lifting up through crown of head, shoulders back, and roll down. So if you've been sat at a desk all morning, stretch out through that upper back. Really try and pull those shoulder blades apart, let the body hang, and then rolling back up again. Stacking everything up on top of each other. When we get to the top, interlink the fingers and push the chest. Push the chest up and open. And look up, tuck the hips, look up to the sky. Keep the chin tucked though. And again, let's roll. Roll down. Just opening up the back line of the body. Really stretching out. Feels so good when you've been sat down. And then rolling back up again. Rolling, 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 rolling. Interlinking those fingers behind you again and pushing that chest up and open. Really stretching up, pushing the breastbone forwards. One more roll down as we come down, but this time we're going to rotate both hands around to one ankle and try and push the opposite hip back behind you and just look towards the shoulder. So you're just clasping one ankle or even the shin, just opening up the side, pushing the hip away. Slight bend into the inside knee, so the leg that you're holding. Then change to the other side, so wrapping the hands around the ankle, the shin, pushing the hip away, and opening up the side. And then staying here, come back to the center. If you can easily reach your toes, we're going to put our hands under our feet. Okay, if we cannot reach our toes, we're just going to have our hands onto our shins with a soft bend into our knees. No stretching, overstretching into the back. So if you can, one hand under the foot, one hand onto the other foot, little bend into the knees. And you're going to pull the shoulders and push the elbow creases to the front. So you're sort of really trying to turn around so you get that good upper back stretch into the hamstrings and looking forwards rather than under. So keeping that head up, trying to bring the shoulders round. And then releasing one hand, releasing the other hand. Slowly we're going to roll all the way up, nice and slowly, into that standing position. And we're going to lift up through one leg, hold on to the front of the shin or the back of the thigh. I'm going to pull that leg up into the chest. So a little bit of standing work as we pull that leg up. That's it, get it as tight as you can. Push the chest forwards. And then begin to circle round with the ankle here. Round and round and round with the ankle. All the way around one way, all the way around the other way. And then taking that leg now out to the side. So we're trying to pull the leg, keep the hips so they face front. Just take that leg out to the side and get a stretch through the inner thigh, working on a little bit of balance. And bring the leg around, and we're going to take the leg across the other side. So across, and maybe you can look behind you, but if that makes you too wobbly, like it does me, okay, just look to the side. And then change legs. So finding that still base, lifting up, hugging the knee into the chest, either holding onto the front of the shin or the back of the thigh. And really hugging that leg in tight. And then beginning those ankle circles round and around. Just getting all of your joints moving. It just feels so good to move, doesn't it? Round and round and round. And then legs going to come out to the side. Use the other hand for a little bit of balance if you want to. Or hand on hip. Really working on that standing leg. Trying to make sure those hips face the front. And then over the other side. So reach across and looking behind you, if that feels okay, or just to the side. And then placing the foot on the floor, we're going to make our way down to the mat. So crossing over, however you get there is fine. And we're going to bring the soles of the feet together, so you can sit up on something or against something if you're finding it hard to do this one. So you can lean against something. And just opening the knees. So trying not to round the back. Opening the knees, sitting as tall as you can through the spine. Tall as you can. Just holding on to the feet and try and open, so you're almost butterflying the feet apart there, getting that stretch into the inner thighs. Taking one leg, I'm going to take that leg around and behind us. Okay, so all I've done is turn the leg, take it round and behind us. So I'm into quite a severe S shape with my legs. If this doesn't work, just change it so that it does. Make sure you have no knee pain. I'm going to reach up. We stretch up through the side. Really reach, open up the side. And maybe you can look up towards the fingers. And just open up that side body. Good stretch. Feels so good. And then take the other hand, take it around to the thigh and pull yourself around into a twist. So the opposite hand's gone onto my thigh and I'm pulling around, feeling a good stretch into my upper back there. And also into the back hip, into the inner thigh. And then come all the way around. We'll change legs. So bring that leg over, the other leg behind, into that quite severe sort of S shape. This side feels quite uncomfy for me. Okay, so there's probably going to be one side that's like that for you. And then we'll reach up and stretch out through the side. That's it, stretching out, opening up the side. Maybe you can look up towards the arm. Stretching and reaching. And breathing into that stretch. Then the hand will come round, so the opposite hand is going to come round, hold on to that thigh, and you're going to look up over that shoulder, try and keep the back hip down. So we rotate around. And can you try and sort of pull the shoulder round with you so you get that stretch and that rotation into the upper back there. Working beautifully onto that rotation, releasing all of that desk sitting, yeah, and then coming round. We're actually going to find a kneeling position. So opening up the fronts of your hips. I don't want to encourage you to be sitting for too long. So bring those hands behind you again, and this time I'm going to come to the side. So this time you're actually trying to pull the arms up behind you. Push the hips under, and instead of pulling them down, we're pulling them back. Really pulling them back, opening up through the front of the chest. And then keeping the hands here, but hinge forwards, looking down towards your knees, and see if you can maybe touch your head to the floor. Take the hands overhead. Then coming back up. My hands are slipping, so I'm just going to change the grip. So we pull down, push the chest forwards, head up a small bit, but we're not flip topping. Yeah, so lengthen through the neck, and then again. Reach those arms up overhead. Forehead to floor. Coming back, big step forwards now with one leg. So big step forwards, so we can find a lunge position. And I'm going to let you play with the position of the lunge, but try and make sure that the back knee is in a comfortable position. So you might want to pad out this knee, and the front knee is going to be over the ankle. We're going to take both hands onto that front thigh and just lean forwards. So leaning forwards, but trying to have the breastbone up. So leaning forwards. And see if you can tuck the back toes, but we're still keeping the knee down. So you're tucking the back toes just to increase that stretch into the hip, into the thigh, and pushing your breastbone up and forwards. Maybe your fingers can touch the floor here. So, but as long as it doesn't encourage you to slouch. Otherwise, keep the hands onto the thigh. Keep the back toes tucked, and we're going to reach the arms up. So pushing into that breastbone up to the ceiling. And we're actually going to lean over to one side. So we're staying into this lunge position to get the hip open. And we're going to stretch over, like we did when we were seated. Stretch over to the side of the bent leg, the front leg. Reaching over. Might be a bit wobbly, and that's fine. Untuck the back toes if you need to. And then change legs. I'm going to swivel around actually. So changing legs, having the back toe tucked first. You're going to walk up onto that front thigh, pushing the hands and really opening up through that chest and lengthening all the way from tailbone to shoulders. Making sure that back knee is really happy. And only if you feel you can keep that chest open do you find the floor with your fingertips. If you've got short arms like me, you might be able to take them with your hands. So working on opening the hips, opening that front of the thigh, then tucking the back toes and pushing the heel away from you, making that stretch a little bit stronger into the front of the hip. Then stay where you are, but reach those arms up high, as long as you're not too wobbly here. And then we reach over to the bent leg. So up and over to the side. That big reach. Into that side bend, just getting into the hips a little bit more. Looking up if that feels okay. Placing the hand down onto the knees, but push yourself into a wide straddle position. Okay, so I've lifted my bottom. My toes are going to turn in, and I'm going to walk down towards the mat, keeping my spine nice and straight. So toes are in, and we're going to open into the inner thighs and let the spine really lengthen there. So use your hands. Maybe your elbows touch, and move your hips. Have a little sway, a little swagger. So get a bit sassy with this. Yep. Move. Maybe do some hip tucks. So arching and tucking. There won't be a great deal of movement here. But moving those hips sort of round in a circle. Getting into the inner thighs. And then rocking the weight forwards and backwards, just making sure that you're safe and you're not going to fall. And finding that best stretch into the backs of the legs. And then walking yourself around. So we're going to lay onto our side. Lay onto your side and take hold of your foot and bring your foot up behind you. So you're going to bring that foot up behind you, lengthen through your bottom arm and stretch and open up through the front of your hip. So you're teasing that foot up towards your bottom, and try and open your shoulder as well. So that front shoulder is going to come backwards. If you can't reach the foot, hold on to your leggings or your shin, or even use a band or a strap or whatever you've got that you can hook your foot. And opening and stretching. And then taking that leg long and just sort of lifting and circling the leg. Don't overthink it. Just get some movement into the hip. So moving, moving, moving. Don't worry about what the leg's doing, the form. Just want you to lift and circle through that leg. Make it feel nice. And then bringing that knee into your chest again. So I've bent my bottom knee to support me. And I'm going to bring that knee into my chest, just holding my head. And rolling over, same thing, other side. Excuse me while I swap ends. So holding on to the foot, bringing that leg up behind you. And pushing the hips up and forwards, really getting into the thighs, into the hip, extending through the bottom arm if that's comfy. And if you've been sitting, this feels so good. Might feel really tight. Then bringing that knee into your chest, hugging it in, really nice and tight onto your side. Let's come over to our front. Placing the hands in the cactus shape onto the mat. So my elbows are in line with my shoulders and my feet are going to be quite wide here. And have a rock with your hips from side to side. And then give yourself a full body stretch. So stretch the arms over your head. Stretch the legs away from you. So if you can imagine really pulling from one end to the other. And breathing deeply into that upper back. Stretching, creeping those feet away from you. And release. We just need to roll onto our side because I forgot to give you the leg circles. So lifting that leg, either just getting that movement into the hip. Just freeing off anything that feels tight, letting the body roll with it a little bit. So we're not rigid here, just thinking about really moving into that hip area. Then we come back over onto our front. This time into those lizard rolls, so back to the cactus arms. And I'm going to lift one foot, so the heel's going to come towards my bottom. And then the foot that's lifted, I'm going to roll over to the side and see if I can get those toes to touch the floor. Then come back over to the other side. See if you can keep the elbows in line with the shoulders so that when you do this twist, you get a nice stretch in the front of the chest. Squeezing the glute and rolling from side to side. Bringing that heel up towards your bottom, but also trying to push it away from you towards the floor. So you get that hip nice and open. A little bit of a squeeze through the bottom cheek as you roll over. You need a bit of space for this one. Usually kick the cat or something like that, you know. Knock something off the mantelpiece as you sweep the leg over. Other side. And then bringing yourself back to that prone position, pushing up through your hands and finding a child's pose. So bottom back over your heels, walk those hands away, let the head come through the gap. And a couple more breaths. And then roll all the way up. And well done, that's your 20-minute lunchtime stretch. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you soon. See you later.